I have one mission: to get as many 9s in my deck as possible. And after 4.5 hours, I finally did it. I got 69 9s. Oh, wait just a second. Let me move this palette real quick. Just kidding, I actually got 1,069 9s in vanilla Balatro. This is episode 9 out of 13 of my Optimizing Balatro series, and in this video, I set out to get the world record for the most 9s in a deck in vanilla Balatro. In fact, over the course of 8 hours, I actually got over 2,000 9s through 7 different strategies. Let's break down each of them so you can see just how I pulled off this ridiculous record. In 7th place, with a whopping total of 4 9s, is the 4 9s you start the run with. While not very many, we all have to start somewhere. And, fun fact, I played a 4 of a kind with the starting 9s not once, but twice in the early game. In 6th place, with a total of 11 9s, is from standard packs. While most standard packs were duds, I opened every pack on this seed to get a total of 11 9s. And while again, not very many, can't we just appreciate the sick editing? Now making a big jump in effectiveness is the 5th place strategy. Certificate? Certificate is normally an F tier joker, almost never being useful. However, in this run, I abuse the fact that it can be copied by blueprints and brainstorms. In a normal run, this fact isn't a big deal, as you normally don't get more than 1 to 2 copy jokers anyways. But this is no normal run. This run is on one of the best Balatro seeds. In the early game, I pick up a naturally negative per KO, and after optimizing my rerolls, I pick up 4 blueprints before endless mode. I continue optimizing, and towards the end of the run, I pick up a total of 9 copy jokers. To better see how I pull off this crazy strat, check out my recent video where I made $1 million in vanilla Balatro, as I played that run on the same seed, and it's a little bit better breakdown of the optimization needed to pull this off. But now that you know I pick up a ton of copy jokers in this run, you'll see that once I pick up Certificate, I started making between 6 and 9 random cards per round from the re-triggers. Each of the card that Certificate produces has a 1 in 13 chance to be a 9, and so in most rounds, it doesn't make me any 9s. However, as you'll see in this next montage, it made me a total of 56 extra 9s throughout the run, accounting for over 2% of the 9s I get. In rounds where I got a 9, I almost always just got 1. However, I had 8 rounds where I got 3 9s from Certificate, and here they are. Certificate is such a niche joker, and I only picked it up because it was negative. So now we will head into a more reliable and well-known strat, and that is the shop. In 4th place is just buying 9s from the shop. I bought the magic trick voucher super early in this run on ante 4, and I would reroll every shop until I ran out of money looking for 9s. Because I eventually bought the Cloud9 Joker, in each shop I had between a few hundred to a few $1,000s to spend on rerolls. And each time I got another 9, I would have that much more money to spend on the next shop. This was honestly the most grindy part of this run, requiring a lot of focus to reroll every shop until I ran out of money. In total, rerolling every shop, I picked up 132 9s, which is way more than I was expecting. And as a fun fact, in this shop around 55, I actually found 2 9s in the same reroll. Let's go. As these clips finish, I want to take a quick moment to thank this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Just kidding, this video's sponsor is you. Genuinely from my heart, thank you so much for watching this far. If you've been a longtime supporter of this channel, a special thanks goes to you for waiting almost, 6 months between videos. If you are new here, a special thanks goes to you for giving the little guy a chance. And if you are specifically Adrian Soares, who reached out to me on email offering a new thumbnail for one of my videos that was not performing very well, can I just say first of all, you are a legend, and second, this new thumbnail has already more than doubled the view count of that video. You've all helped make this channel what it is, so to each and every one of you, thank you. Okay, now that my sponsored ad read is out of the way, it's time to look at the 3rd place strategy, tarot cards. Tarot cards have exactly 2 ways to make 9s. The first and most straightforward way is with the Death Tarot. In total, I made 129 9s using Death, because in each shop I would reroll for a Death and also a Fool while looking for 9s in the shop. Then, when I'd enter a blind and Certificate would make a bunch of random cards, I would use the Death Tarot to make a 9 out of one of the random cards. Then, I would use the Fool to get my Death back. And then use that Death to make another 9. And as you can see in this sick montage, I did this a lot.
Nice.
The second way to make a 9 with tarot cards is by using the Strength Tarot on an 8, increasing its value up to 9. This is way more difficult to pull off. For instance, with Death, I can turn any random card into a 9. However, with Strength, I need to specifically draw an 8 or have Certificate make one. In total, I used 15 strengths to convert 15 individual 8s into 9s. And while that's cool, what's even cooler is that on 4 separate occasions, I had 2 8s show up in my hand, and I converted them both to 9s with the single strength. And I just gotta say, I felt like a real baller doing this each time. And so in total, I made 148 9s by using tarot cards, which accounted for a little over 6% of my total 9s. But now we make a massive jump in effectiveness, jumping all the way to 667 9s with the second place strategy. DNA. DNA is one of my favorite jokers in a normal Balatro run, and so finding it on this shop on Ante 9 on this busted run, I was ecstatic. Like Certificate, DNA can also be copied by blueprints and brainstorms. This means, as soon as I pick it up, I can consistently add as many 9s to my deck as I have blueprints and brainstorms. Another way to think of it is a DNA is just like a certificate, but instead of a 1 in 13 chance to make a 9H trigger, it has a 13 in 13 chance to make a 9H trigger. And so it should be 13 times more effective than Certificate. And just to prove it, if you take the number of 9s made by DNA, 667, and divide it by 13, you get about 51, which is super close to the 56 9s that Certificate made. DNA is one of my favorite jokers in the game, and it is also one of my favorite jokers to showcase when I edit these videos. I try to keep a balance between highlighting the fun parts of these runs, while also not making my videos several hours long or having multiple parts. And so to do that nicely with DNA, I learned how to edit these sick montages. In total, DNA accounted for about 28% of the 9s I made. But the first place strategy more than doubled DNA with a total of 57%, coming in at a whopping 1,370 cards. But before I show you that, I have to tell you a funny story. I wasn't originally intending to put so many 69 jokes into this video, but while I was editing this, I gotta capture the moment I hit exactly 6,969 subscribers, which first of all is amazing. But even more amazing is that by the time I released this video, I jumped over 12,000 subscribers. If you are new to this channel, I'm in the middle of a series where I do something busted in Balatro. Specifically, this is a 13-part series, where each episode in the series showcases one of the 13 cards in Balatro. For instance, on episode 2, I got a deck of all 2s, and used Hack to re-trigger them to get to NAN E Inf. And for episode 6, I got a deck of all Glass 6s, and then I used 2 Oops All 6s jokers to break all of my cards in one hand. And then of course this is episode 9, showcasing the Cloud9 Joker. If you've liked this video so far and want to see the rest of the episodes in the series, please consider subscribing. And if you're feeling extra spicy, feel free to like this video and leave a comment. Doing any or all of these things is the best way that you can support this channel for free, and I would greatly appreciate it. But now, without further ado, is the time to showcase the first place strategy. You may have been able to figure it out from the previous clips, but if you didn't, here it is. Cryptid. A very popular flavor of Endless Run is using Perkeo and Cryptid in combination with Baron and Mime, and when your deck is only Red Seal, Steel Kings, you can get a truly busted NAN E Inf run. This strategy is super popular in the Balatro community, and in my mind, a little overdone. However, I realized when planning this video that I could still use parts of this strategy to synergize with getting as many 9s as possible. If I could get 1 Red Seal, Steel 9, I could make up for the fact that I didn't have any Barons by just using a lot more Cryptids each round. And because my strategy would be a lot weaker without Baron, I chose to play this run on the Plasma deck, which would basically double the amount of E I would get each round. The one main drawback to playing on the Plasma deck, however, is that there is no easy way to get my first cryptid reliably. There are only 2 ways to get spectral cards when you're not playing the Ghost deck. I opted to go for Seance in the early game. Seance is a bit nicer than Sixth Sense because, for 1, it can be copied by blueprints and brainstorms, and for 2, it can be played more than once per round. The obvious downside, though, is that you need to make a straight flush to get it to trigger, which is super hard to do. So to account for this, in the early game, I converted most of my deck to spades and tried to make as many straight flushes as possible. And after what felt like an eternity, I finally got a cryptid. I started using Berkeo to duplicate it every round to start building my stack of cryptids, and this eventually turned into my win condition once I started using them to make more 9s each round. So as you can see, once I get the cryptids, it's pretty straightforward. I just keep doing this every round until I finally ran out of cryptids and died. But before we get to the end, I think I've given you a good breakdown of each strategy, but I think it doesn't do justice to seeing just how involved a normal round progresses. So I want to take a moment to show you just what that looks like. After spending thousands of dollars rerolling the shop looking for 9s, I would rearrange my jokers so that Berkeo could be copied by the copy jokers to make as many cryptids as possible. Once that was done, I would rearrange my certificate to try to spawn as many 9s as I could as I entered the blind. I then used my Death, Fool, and Death Tarot cards that I found while rerolling the shops to make any extra 9s, and if I happened to spawn an 8, I would use a Strength Tarot to make an extra 9. Once I was done fooling around with tarot cards, it was time to rearrange DNA before playing a high card to generate even more 9s. I then started using my cryptids one by one. And once I was done, I then rearranged my jokers, put mine on the far left before patiently waiting several minutes to beat the blind. I then rinsed and repeated this sequence over and over and over for almost 9 hours to finally get to this moment, where for the last time I used a cryptid, taking me to a total of 2,388 9s in my deck in Vanilla Balatro. Thank you so much for watching. This has been VEIR. See you later.